Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. 4 years ago, my wife passed away due to breast cancer, leaving me 42 male and my daughters 19 female and 17 female behind. A year and a half ago, I met Vicky, 47 female, and we quickly fell in love. Vicky has a daughter, Heather, 24 female, and together they came to live with us. Vicky and I did not get married, however, so Heather isn't technically my stepdaughter. Almost from the very beginning, Heather wasn't very nice towards me, to say the least. I tried to get to know her and at least establish a cordial relationship, but nothing worked. She was very disrespectful and hateful to me, but also to her mother. Heather also picked verbal fights with my daughters, but I squashed that soon after it happened. Heather was the instigator, and I told her that if she had a problem, she should direct it at me instead of my daughters. It seemed to work. Last week was Casey's, my eldest daughter, 19th birthday. I gave her a spa package treatment for 2 persons, total $500 in the form of a gift card. And I told her she could pick another person to go with. She chose her younger sister, who was happy to go. They would pick a date and make the reservation. Casey wanted to make the reservation 2 days ago, but couldn't find the gift card. After hours of searching, we couldn't find it. When Heather came home, we asked if she had seen it. She told us she didn't. After another hour, Vicky found the gift card in Heather's room, against Heather's protests. After a while, Heather admitted she took the gift card from Casey's room and went to the spa 2 days ago with her girlfriend. I was angry and told her that if she didn't pay Casey $500, I would kick her out. Since Heather doesn't have a job and has dropped out of college, she says she can't pay it. She has been living at my house rent-free with everything paid for. I told her if she can't pay it, she should go live with her deadbeat father instead. She called me every name in the book and locked herself in her room. Vicky says it was a bonehead move since she has nowhere to go and her father won't pay for her to live with him. So am I the bonehead? Edit. Quite some people have been asking for an edit. Considering it's been a rough week and only now things are calming down, I thought I'd write an update. I sat down with my daughters and had a long conversation about Heather, my relationship with Vicky, and how I'd let it go up to this point. In short, my daughters have for a long time hated Heather. They didn't have any problems with Vicky, only regarding how Vicky always lets Heather off the hook. I read many comments and I started doubting my relationship with Vicky. I knew it wasn't perfect, but thought we loved each other. My daughters are of the opinion that Vicky never loved me, but that I also never loved Vicky. Especially, Casey thought it was more companionship that we shared, and that I was lonely. Damn, my daughter hit the nail on the head. She was right. I didn't want to spoil my daughter's day at the spa and paid for it so that they could still go. They went a few days ago and had a blast. Regarding Heather, I essentially kicked her out. Vicky threatened to leave if I kicked Heather out, and I told her Vicky was free to also go. After that, she quickly backpedaled and told me she didn't want to go. Heather made a fuss, but I let her take her stuff and she moved out within 2 days. She is temporarily staying with a girlfriend of hers. I told Vicky that if Heather didn't pay the $500 back, we were going to call the police and report her. Vicky was horrified and called her parents. I was surprised by this because Vicky told me she had a bad relationship with her parents. As far as I know, her parents gave her the $500 and she gave the $500 to me. After this, I was about to have a difficult conversation with Vicky and wanted to tell her we're over, but she beat me to it. She told me that I treated Heather like crap because I was threatening to call the police, and she couldn't live with that. I was relieved and it probably showed, prompting Vicky to call me out, asking if I was going to try to make it up to her and convince her to stay. I told her no. After this, there was a lot of screaming on Vicky's part. She also left. She's staying with a married couple that are close friends with her. It took a bit more time and energy to move her stuff to her friend's house. While I was there helping to move her stuff, I was essentially ignored, so I have no idea what Vicky told them. Today is the first day of peace and quiet in my house, and I already noticed that my daughters are a lot happier. That's all that matters to me. I want to thank everyone for their posts and weighing in. Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. She just stole $500. That's insane. Tell her to get a job or pay it back or she can deal with it with the police. I mean, this is the hill to die on. Your priorities need to be your kids and you're allowing a stressful and hostile living situation. Vicky needs to know either Heather goes or you can no longer live together. Not the bonehead. Not the bonehead. Your girlfriend Vicky and Heather, a 24-year-old adult, are lucky you didn't call the cops and have her arrested. Depending on where you live, that might be considered grand larceny, which is a felony. You were very reasonable and generous, and if Heather doesn't have a job, then she can get a job at McDonald's today, and then she'll have the money by the end of the week. Your stepdaughter is like the post child for screw around and find out. Also, once Heather has paid back the stolen $500, it's time for her to move out. At that point, she'll have a job and can rent a room somewhere. My brother is 16. I'm 20 female. I recently got home from college. He has a bad habit of taking my stuff when he runs out of his own. He takes my shampoo, my hair products, my conditioner, my face wash. No matter how much I yell at him, when he's in a pinch and just trying to go fast and has run out of stuff, he just uses mine. I usually hide all of it under my sink, but I generally keep my razor in the shower. The first time, I thought it was an accident. I always put the plastic covering back on my razor and found that the next time I went to use it, it had been removed. I just told him it was mine and not to do it again. Just in case though, I removed the old head and put the new one I had just used to shave my entire body in my drawer in the bathroom, so the next time I would shower, I could just grab it from there. The second time, I got mad. He literally went to use my razor, found there was no head, and then went through my bathroom stuff to find another razor head, replaced it, and then used it to shave. I found out and lost it. I screamed at him that I literally used that to shave my butthole, and he used it on his face. He got mad because I replaced the plastic on the razor head and put it in my drawer with other new razors that I had bought, so he assumed it was new. He said he wasn't trying to use mine, but he was in a pinch again and just searched around for what he thought was a clean razor head to use so he wouldn't use my used one like last time. He also freaked out about the butthole thing and was like gagging and crying about it. I just told him he shouldn't have used my stuff after I specifically told him not to. My parents are mad at me because I was crude and that I didn't have to say all the butthole stuff. They're also saying my reaction was disproportionate and that I shouldn't have reacted so much because it was an honest mistake and he thought it wasn't used. I did get pretty mad, like screaming at him that he was gross and has no respect or boundaries. I kind of feel bad because he's not talking to me now. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. Your parents are just enabling his behavior. I'd put the stuff in a locked drawer or locked box. He intentionally went through your stuff to get your razor. That's not an accident. Not the bonehead. You set a boundary and he didn't respect it. I think it's kind of hilarious and hopefully he learns his lesson. Also, can't you get infections like folliculitis from someone using your razor? Not cool of him to keep doing that. Not the bonehead. Use all your products on your butthole and let everyone know. Problem solved. Not the bonehead. Hilarious. Hope your brother learned his lesson. I am no expert and I may be wrong, but isn't sharing of razors a way that some diseases can be transferred? Is there a doctor in the house? My son, 27, and his wife, the same age, had a baby 4 months ago. I recently went over to see them. They seemed a bit tense, but what new parents aren't? So anyway, my daughter-in-law asked me how long it took to lose my weight to get back to normal. I said that I wore my normal clothes home and never really gained much weight with any of my pregnancies. My mother was the same, as are my daughters. Then she asked if I really wore makeup home. I asked why she was asking, but she insisted on an answer. So I said yes. She ran off crying. I asked my son WTF was going on, and he said she saw some pictures and didn't believe it was him as a baby. It must be a niece because it was impossible. Apparently, he said obviously it's not impossible as you're looking at the picture. So she had been snotty about it. We decided it was best to leave. Later, her mother decided to call me and tell me I shouldn't go over there till I apologized. I told her I'm not apologizing for telling the truth. She told me I'm a witch and hung up. My husband thinks it's ridiculous, but my daughter-in-law is still mad, and my son ended up staying here last night because she was insinuating that I must have done drugs to keep that skinny. He's back there, but my daughter called and said he's asking to stay here for a while. It's a mess. I don't want to apologize. Am I the bonehead? Edited to add, the pictures were in a baby book or scrapbook my eldest made. My son didn't just show her the pictures. Now for some comments. OP, There's an awful lot of anger floating around all this, but not as much concern as we might expect to see. Worrying about who should apologize to who seems like the wrong focus. Daughter-in-law's behavior seems unhinged. You don't mention any pre-existing problems in your relationship with your daughter-in-law. If this is new behavior, why aren't you and your son questioning what's happening here? It sounds like you are assuming no comments have been made to your daughter-in-law about her appearance because no one specifically told you that happened. In this case, with an infant in the mix, it's probably worth learning more. Ask questions. If anyone has given her grief about her appearance, support your son and daughter-in-law in dealing with that. More concerning are possible hormonal or mental health issues that can arise after giving birth. Again, assuming this behavior isn't typical of your daughter-in-law, please do whatever you can to ensure she's seen by a medical professional. If the first isn't helpful, find another. Your son choosing to leave your daughter-in-law alone with the baby because he's angry seems like a really bad idea. This is a mess and it should be dealt with, just in a way with the well-being of baby and mom front of mind, not who is at fault. Support your son's little family to get back on track. Definitely don't apologize. They are clearly in the wrong. Having said that, your son doesn't at all mention the weight of his wife, does he? Because if he's any sort of cause to her stress, then that needs to be taken care of immediately. Like, how did this conversation come up? It would be really crappy if your son was like, well, my mom looked great when she had me. She didn't gain any weight, etc., etc. So I'd maybe check in and see how this convo even came up. Your daughter-in-law seems very upset, and while she's clearly projecting, I think it's important to figure out where this is stemming from. If it's not your son, then it seems you have very toxic in-laws you're dealing with, unfortunately. Not the bonehead. I think your daughter-in-law needs postpartum evaluations mentally. Something isn't right. Today, my wife came into my gaming room at our house and told me she was going to the store to make a return. The store is only about 10 minutes from our house. After about an hour, I called her to see where she was, only to find out that she was hanging out with her friend. When she got home, about 5 hours after she initially left the house, I told her that I was angry that she lied to me about what she was going to do. Her position is that she didn't lie to me because regardless of whether or not she told me that she was going to hang out with her friend, she still went to the store to return the item that she was planning to return. My position is that she lied because she, admittedly, had already made plans to hang out with her friend but completely left that out when she told me she was going to the store to return the item. We just had a big argument about the situation, with my wife saying she didn't realize she needed to tell me every single detail about everything she was going to do for the day. I didn't want the details about every single little thing she was going to do. I feel like she should have just told me she was going to hang out with her friend instead of conveniently leaving that part out. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. I was swaying a little towards you're the bonehead until I saw OP's wife's comment and you're absolutely the bonehead. She was at Target the whole time with her friend returning items, shopping and having lunch. That's what you're mad about? Another commenter said, and she apparently took the kid so he wasn't left on solo parenting duty or anything. He was just free to game. This seems weirdly controlling. You were playing video games and your wife was running errands and then met up with a friend. What the F is the problem? Is she supposed to sit around and watch you play all day? You're the bonehead. Do you normally game for hours at a time? I'm not accusing you, just asking. Maybe she didn't bother to tell you what she was doing because she figured you'd be gaming all day anyway. Maybe she thought you wouldn't even notice she was gone. Yes, you're the bonehead. She answered when you called. You're hugely overreacting. I would bet money you're either trying to distract attention from or justify your own lying, or you're paranoid because you think everyone else lies as much as you do. OP's wife, if you're reading, there's a stereotype about this for a reason. We often know when someone is up to no good by what they accuse us of. OP's wife said, "Hi, wife here. I'd like to clarify a few points. I made my return at Target. I hung out with my best friend at Target. I had been at Target for 26 minutes when I received the call because I stopped for gas beforehand, not something I give updates on as it's a small errand. I was at Target the entire time until we went to lunch, after I confirmed that my husband had already eaten lunch on his own. I recognize my lack of communication, and the entire thing feels 100% out of hand as my husband would like me to admit that I'm a liar. If anything, I did not communicate clearly and I had zero intent of harm or malice. We were returning school clothes that did not fit, replacing them, and then buying breakfast, lunch items for school. I know we're all entitled to our feelings, but sometimes we need to look within ourselves and recognize what a big problem is versus a small blip. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you like these stories, please consider subscribing. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.